Almost 2 decades on from its inception, mixed martial arts was still receiving a lot of criticism from the wider martial arts community. In response to this, I wrote an article called Mixed Martial Arts and the Quest for Integrity. It formed part of my collection of articles, Mordred's Victory and Other Martial Mutterings. It's since been revised, edited and more material added for the latest paperback edition. My name is Jamie Clubb. This is the Club Chimera Martial Arts channel. If you like the content of this vlog, please like, subscribe and leave a comment below. If we look over the last 200 years of martial arts development, it's quite understandable why many people within the established martial arts community would be openly hostile to mixed martial arts. In the early 1990s, the Ultimate Fighting Championship landed. It was an extension of the Gracie Challenge itself, a very contentious and overtly provocative tradition of challenging other martial arts styles. That was the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu way, and part of the family tradition was to challenge other martial arts schools or to have an open challenge for anyone to test their skills against their style. That's how they advertised and promoted their style. It became the Ultimate Fighting Championship, and promoters took a punk rock approach. They courted controversy and subsequently got the sport banned in many states in the US. Since then, under the stewardship of Dana White, the sport has become an established mainstream interest. In fact, it is very much a rival to Western boxing. There was a lot of debate of that in the 2010s. In fact, I remember attending a meeting where I was told by a Muay Thai crew that MMA had had its day. It was on its descent. This was going to be the end of MMA. And this all ended to the lie that MMA was a passing trend. We are now 3 decades on from modern mixed martial arts being here, without even taking into consideration its various prototypes before that, judo, all-in fighting, and various other different attempts at bringing in style versus style competitions. We're far further down the road than that, and in 2020, 3 of the 5 major pay-per-view events were Ultimate Fighting Championships. On top of that, the press are pointing towards mixed martial arts as an example for boxing, particularly in the way that it handles its politics. In the world of mixed martial arts, the world champions are the Ultimate Fighting Champions. That is the gold standard. Anybody who wants to be top in the world of mixed martial arts needs to be an Ultimate Fighting Champion. So that means 1 weight category, 1 champion. The same can't be said for Western boxing. In different periods of time, we have had different champions. And on top of that, we have had #1 contenders getting pushed back by all the politics and having to wait ridiculous lengths of time to have their title shot. Mixed martial arts, though, is criticised for its lack of discipline and its lack of respect. And I think this comes out in all the publicity in the early days, but also in the colourful characters within the world of mixed martial arts. But you'll always get that whenever there's media attention. All the top combat sports, all the combat sports that have the most money behind them and that have the most publicity behind them are going to get colourful figures. And again, I don't wish to go back to Western boxing. After all, Western boxing has a profound influence on mixed martial arts, and a lot of boxing coaches work with mixed martial artists. So these are the critics from the Western boxing world, I believe, are very, very shrill, but they're in the minority. But of course, Western boxing has had a lot of controversy in the past with colourful figures that have promoted riots, that have promoted all sorts of issues, rightly or wrongly, sometimes for different causes. But the point being is that controversy has never been far away from Western boxing. It is very much in its roots, it's very much in its history, certainly in connection with problems with the law, with organised crime. Again, we can look at corruption, and that kind of thing might be put about with MMA. There have been claims about corruption within MMA. Again, like within any professional sport, with any amateur sport for that matter. We know of Olympic martial arts having controversy, and again, these sort of things can be read in books like Alex Gillis's The Killing Art. In respect to Taekwondo, we can see in Freakonomics that there was an institutionalized system of fixed matches occurring within the very traditional combat sport of sumo. The ancient sport of sumo not only had an agreement on fixed matches within some of its tournaments, there was also proven connections with the Yakuza that then surfaced in the 2000s. So every sport has its controversies, will always have those elements. But then, of course, we've got in the traditional martial arts world those who say that they're not sports, that they're martial arts, and that sports are different, and MMA then is representative of that. And then when they start arguing along self-defense lines, they do have a point. I don't believe mixed martial arts is verbatim self-defense. I think it is a very important and valid form of attribute training for self-defense, and I highly recommend it as a method for a person who has done a basic efficient self-defense course, self-protection course. They have learnt all the appropriate pre and post-fight soft skills and the basic self-defense, lawful self-defense skills, that they should look into combat sports and mixed martial arts as part of their attribute training that can very much benefit their self-defense training. But that's a discussion for another day. Again, if we want to bring that back on, then I believe that pretty much every martial art isn't a form of self-defense verbatim. Some of them did start off as systems of self-protection and then evolved into an art. So that's, that becomes a null and void argument. We can do the trading for that, and at least mixed martial arts does emphasize resistance-based training, and also the fact that it takes in all the ranges of combat. So it has a big advantage in that respect, and it's actively training that. Then we have, say, with the issue with arts. Yes, there are a lot of mixed martial artists that probably behave disrespectfully. But I think on the whole, I think mixed martial arts does promote a lot of respect. Outside of its colourful figures, outside the publicity, you have an institution that actively promotes cross-training, actively promotes fighters getting together. Boxers mixed with wrestlers, mixed with submission grapplers, mixed with judoka, mixed with kickboxers, nakmois. That promotes more respect, surely, as a whole. Yes, you have the tribe of mixed martial arts, if you like. You have that tribe of combat sport people, even as a whole, that have their own issues and look to traditional arts or look to reality-based self-defense as being useless, as being not worth anything. But on the whole, you are looking at something that is going to promote more respect between different individuals within the martial arts community, and can be seen as a noble cause. One of the things that I was impressed with was how even at very low level competitions, anybody who was competing in a mixed martial arts match would be paid. And I appreciate there's going to be exceptions to the rule, but this is what I kept seeing all the time. Even if it was a nominal payment, the point was that fighters do not pay, which again sort of breaks that whole amateur retail construct that we see so much within the martial arts world. Before the world of mixed martial arts exploded on the scene in the 1990s, we were seeing people involved in the semi-contact world and the tournament world. Champions were having huge reputations, but they still were paying a fee to compete, just as somebody might do in any other type of hobby. So at their, this is their profession, this is their job, but they're still paying to compete. There's nothing wrong with this within the amateur world. I completely understand how these things operate, and it's the same across all sports. But the fact was that MMA was strongly putting in place a professional standard, the idea that we were going to have fighters be paid to compete. I think that in itself is quite noble. For now, I'd like to leave you a message that mixed martial arts may often have this thuggish exterior, the rest of the martial arts world, but in fact it's a surprisingly very open community. A lot of traditionalists have been surprised by this. You'll find that most mixed martial arts coaches are very accommodating and are very respectful to other arts. Indeed, most of them have started in other forms of martial art, whether it was a combat sport such as boxing, or whether it's traditional arts such as taekwondo or karate. Mixed martial arts can be seen as a great area for different people to pull those experiences. My early article on this, again, as said, has been re-edited, and more information added to it, and totally revised and put into the paperback edition, available for the first time. My Mordred's Victory and Other Martial Mutterings. If you'd like a signed copy directly from me, then drop me an email. Otherwise, just please leave a comment below. I'd love to hear back from you, and speak to everybody soon. Bye-bye.
He's all wrong for us, baby. I saw you beat that man like I never saw no man get beat before, and the man kept coming after you. need that kind of